The cloud. Okay, it says we're recording, so that should be good. I'm just figuring, because I messed up the last one, that's why I couldn't share it with you. I'm gonna do a conference call tomorrow and try to fix that.
Oh, cool.
I can.
Well, I forgot and went to town, and I got to town, and it was noon, and I went, ugh.
All right, let's go back to screen share. There we go. Awesome. All right, I believe we're recording. It looks like the little button is flashing. And we're going to go ahead and get started if you're ready. Are you ready, my dear?
Yeah.
All right, and if others join us, then, we'll catch them up wherever that we're at, and we'll go from there. Tell me a little bit about your experience with dreams.
I feel like I just go into a dream when I go to sleep at night, and I don't remember. Sometimes I remember. I used to be really good about remembering my dreams, but anymore, it just seems like I wake up exhausted from dreams.
Yeah, dreams, and a lot of times it's actual kind of like out of the body, nighttime working, I call it, if you will, where we're out doing things and accomplishing things that we can't do in our physical bodies, and our subconscious mind has to be in control,
I do a lot of it, and I think the only one I remember lately, I said it was so vivid, is I kind of woke up, and I remember being on horseback with somebody else, so I don't remember, but looking over what's supposed to be the property here and going, and there was a great big, like a castle door. It was all wood and big pillars. And I looked at it. I just looked at the other person going, I don't remember that being there when I left.
Cool.
We don't remember that. You think I'd remember that?
Whenever we dream about movement forward, or movement and that type of thing, if we're moving forward, it talks about us on a movement forward in our life. And it also, when we dream about buildings, houses, barns, any kind of like living structure, that's actually about you. It's talking about you, and it's giving you information about you. So if it's beat up and run down and we're out, that's kind of giving you a clue. Maybe you need to do something to get yourself perked back up. Or if it's like you said, the big beautiful door and, and all of that, to me it tells me you're moving in the right direction. The horse being your strong, horse is interpreted very strong, steady, they know how to set their pace, they can go the extra miles. So you're doing all of the work that's needed to get yourself there. You're at the door of where you're wanting to go. It's soon going to open for you. That's what I see with it. So, okay. Dreams have been there throughout history. They can give us so much information. They can take us so many different places, like we've been talking about. We spend about 1/3 of our lives in dream time. When you think about that, that's a lot of time that we actually spend in that space. That's not necessarily just sleep time. That's when we're actively involved in dream time. And we can find the meaning of life, our destiny, and what our life potentials are when we actually are in that space. And when we're in dream time, we're actually at the point now where our subconscious mind has taken over, so the subconscious mind finally gets the opportunity to shut up. That mind that wants to keep us overthinking, overproducing, overdoing, and when we get into the subconscious mind, we're then able to realize our full destiny, our full potential, our full purposes. All of those things can then start to be revealed to us. So that's why dreaming is so important. And allowing ourselves to go into that dream time is so important. Let's see. It can show things like our attitudes. It can reveal unknown facts. It can give warnings. All of those are different things that we can bring forward with our dreams. So that's one reason why we want to become very aware of our dreams and knowing that those dreams have a really strong purpose, okay? We connect with our higher self. We connect with our I am self, our God, whatever your higher good, your higher belief is, your God source. We connect to that in dream time. We have to understand that in sleeping, we reach the alpha stage, and that's where we are when we like daydream. We're like when we're just starting to fall asleep. We're in the alpha stage, and this is not considered a place where we really get into dreaming. It's more of a controlled dream. Let's see, that was the alpha. You can control your dream. That kind of what I mean by like that is you can be dreaming about something happening, but yet you're able to shift it or move it around or make it do its own things by being able to control it. Theta is the level of sleep where you have vague dreams. It's kind of like you'll have that dream of a purple horse running across a great big ocean. And you're thinking, what the heck is that about? It's those vague kind of dreams because it doesn't really have a storyline and it doesn't really have a set kind of foundational meaning. It's just kind of like it's out there and just happening, real vague. Delta is that state where we don't dream. When we're in Delta, everything is kind of, I call it flatline. It's kind of like I'm at a Delta state. I'm not into REM. I'm not into these in and out weird dreams, but you're in that really in between state. This happens about after 90 minutes of being sound asleep. And then we can drop into, we'll go back and forth between Delta and Theta almost all night long. That's just common. It's when we drop into the REM, or the rapid eye movement level of sleep, that's when the body is then stepped into that calm, peaceful state, and it allows us to then really go into the dreams. Like your dream with your horse and like you were talking about the door and all that. You were in the REM state because it was very, it was like a story. It had like a message to convey. It had like a truth to give away as information. Okay? When working with dreams, you need to realize that you're connecting with your subconscious. Let me turn that off. There we go. We're working with the subconscious reality. I love it. When I work on clients and I'm doing healing work on them, or I'm doing energy type work, or I'm doing reflexology, I love it when the conscious mind goes away. Like if I'm doing reflexology and somebody falls asleep, I love it because their conscious mind is no longer in control of the situation or circumstance that we're doing, and I can do more, and I can get them more opening and healing in their body. So we want to kind of strive for that subconscious reality to be present in our dreams, and when we want to have that, I don't want to call it siesta. Like when we want to have the siesta time that just allows us to sit back just for a minute and just, we want that conscious mind being quiet, and we want the subconscious mind coming forward. And that's when we can really start seeing the true reality of who and what we are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. When you want to remember your dreams, there's a number of different techniques that you can use that will help with that. The very first thing is when you wake up, and we all have a habit of it. We wake up, we jump out of bed, we run to the bathroom, we're immediately doing things. But if we give ourselves permission to wake up slowly, and by that I mean, I'm starting to wake up, I can feel myself starting to wake up, I'm awake, and I'm laying here, but I'm really just going to allow my body to become awake. I'm going to stretch, I'm going to move, but I'm also going to focus on what did I just wake up from a dream of. Okay? And if we move and if we get up or we start doing all this other activity, we are immediately going to forget what we were dreaming. It happens every time. I don't care how hard you try to make it not happen. it will happen every time. So if it's the type of thing where you wake up and, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the bathroom, have a piece of notebook paper or something like that in the bathroom, and you can real quick write down key terms, key ideas. I saw a door, I saw a horse. I was doing this, and just write down the key points, because that will help you to remember. But if you can do the waking up really slow, it helps your mind to remember and wrap around what you were dreaming. Then what you want to do, some people find that it's super hard to wake up slow, and then write down key points or write down their dream. If you try to write down your whole dream, you'll miss bits and pieces of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about a dream journal here in a minute, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But if it's hard for you to write it, and you can have one of those little digital recorders real close by the bed, you can grab that up and you can real quick say, exactly like you said to me, real vivid dream, blah, 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 blah. And then move on. You can then go back later and evaluate what that dream was trying to portray, what that dream was trying to give you the message of, okay? When you wake up, how do you feel? Do you feel tense, relaxed, sad, happy, tired? I wake up more mornings feeling exhausted from all the activity I've done the night before, that I feel like I'm like, oh my God, why do I even go to bed? And I think that that's because we're so actively involved in dream conscious activity that we do outside of, for example, you're a part of Dragon, correct?
Yes.
Okay. For example, the type of work we do through Dragon, we do it through meditation, we do it through quiet, we do it through visualization, that type of thing. So a lot of times that's a part of that as well. The emotions can be brought through from you from the dreamland into actual everyday reality happenings. That's why a lot of times people will wake up and they'll be mad at their partner because in their dream their partner did something wrong. You get it. It's that kind of thing that can happen, and we have to really start being able to put distinctions in those places. One of the next things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to allow yourself to get to that restful, peaceful place where you can go into REM. We never stay in REM for long periods of time. We're in there and out, in and out, in and out, and then we dance between the theta and the delta because that's where we normally sleep. So we want to wake up slow so that we can keep track of what we've been dreaming. The next thing is keeping a dream journal. And I don't care if it's something you don't go back and look at for, a good 4 or 5 days. It's something that you can write down and get the messages that are there for you. Or recording it on your recorder can be like a dream journal. And when you do that, you want to put down the key phrases, the key bits of information that happen in the dream, because that's the message. I, for the longest time, would have this dream about a barn. And it would be the craziest thing because I would go to the barn and I'd go in the barn and all the animals were taken care of. Their pens were all clean. They were all fed and they were all, healthy and looking great and wonderful. Then another little bit of time would go and I'd have the dream and I'd walk up to the dream and the door's falling off the hinges and the animals' pens are looking terrible and they're looking skinny or other people are taking care of them. And this happened for probably about a year. I mean, almost like faithfully every other night. I was dreaming about this stupid barn and there was always a skinny or a well-fed horse in it. And so through keeping track of that and watching the patterns of that dream and then watching the patterns of what were going on in my life every one of those days, I immediately figured out the barn was a representation. Michael's just having a sporadic moment in there. He's all excited. Anyhow, I'm hearing the bed getting torn apart. Anyhow, what I then noticed was on the days that my barn and my horse and my animals were all taken care of and they were fed and everything was plush and wonderful, were days and times that I was really taking good care of myself. I was making sure I had the right nutrition. I was making sure that, I was getting out and exercising and doing all that. And then on the times that I even had dreams where I was neglecting the barn, and in my dream it'd be like, well, you haven't been here to take care of us for months. And I found, I'm neglecting myself. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not doing what I need for me. So I immediately started catching the pattern of that and started realizing, immediately when I would start getting little keys or signs or symbols or something like that, I knew to start doing those things, to take care of myself, to get some exercise, to start reading some more or whatever I needed to do to make sure I was in a much better place. So that's where dream journals can really help out a lot for us on our life path, on our life journey, because we are then embracing that step into who we are and into the reality of the world around us. It brings the subconscious, brings to the conscious an awareness of what's going on. So that's where it's really important to do that. Short sentences, feelings, thoughts, and visuals. Those are the key points that you want to put down. Those are the key things that you want to bring forward so that you'll remember it. If you write down, give me the key words to that dream you shared with me earlier, Renee.
I was on a hill looking down at this I can't even explain. It was like big castle doors, huge, all big logs, beautifully shined.
Nice. Okay, so the key points then could be the castle, up on a hill, looking down, doors, beautiful. All of those, just writing down those key points are going to then help you, number one, remember the dream, but then you're going to be able to begin to interpret from those points. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know where to start with that, though. I don't know. That was a weird one.
That's okay, because being up, like I said at the beginning when we were talking, being up on the hill means you've surmounted the hills. You've surmounted what you've been working on. You're now able to look out over the beauty, and you're now able to see what you've been doing and preparing for yourself to become.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
I do want to say I've been dreaming a lot about my whole family, like Tom's included, Mom, Dad, Rick, and Tom. We're all there.
Okay. Okay.
But that's weird because Mom's there too, and it's not really weird, but I mean, you know what I mean. They're all deceased.
I know. I know where you're going with that. But you know what? It could also be a reuniting of power that comes within all that.
Okay.
The family nucleus, the strength, and all of that can come from that. Are they talking, or are they all just kind of around? Is it like being at a family reunion?
Yeah, and I'm we're like going about our daily things, like we've all gotten together, but we're still, like we're putting things together or doing something. It's not like we're new to each other or we've been apart. Okay.
So it's just kind of like sharing space and remembering and just a rebuilding of the family nucleus.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I would watch the pattern that it creates. Just start keeping notes on what the little dreams are about, and it'll reveal itself to you. It'll give you more insight as you dream it more. Some of the things you're going to look at. What was the dream about? And what was the dream experience?
Okay.
What did I feel from the dream? One of the things I can do too, Renee, if you'd like, is I can actually email you a copy of this outline.
Okay.
This is one of the classes that I do.
Highlight it.
Where was the dream located? And when did it? Pardon?
Go ahead.
No, where and when did it take place? Those are the kind of things you want to remember. And how did the dream relate to your everyday life? Because there's always a relationship to something that's going on. I had a very, very tumultuous dream 2 nights ago. Very tumultuous. And I was like, wow, I don't get it. I don't understand. And there's so much to it. There are so many pieces to all this puzzle and all this stuff going on. And then when I woke up and I checked my emails, I had a very, which could have become a tumultuous email from someone, but because I'd been kind of pre-warned in my dream, I knew how to step into it and how to, boom, begin to handle the situation that came forward. So sometimes we have to look at how does it relate to my life. I get it now because we can see where that connection came in place. Those are just some of the points that you want to remember with dreaming. Dreaming doesn't just happen because it's just dreaming. There's something behind it. And if we really can look at those deeper meanings, we can then begin to really get a good piece of it. I tried to find this one book. I wanted to bring a picture of it. Let me see if I can find it on here real quick. A picture of the cover because it's an excellent book for interpreting dreams and working with dreams. Mm-hmm. It's called The Dream Book, and the author is Betty Berthud. Let me see if I can find it here in my books thing. I just got to try to... we don't want psychometry.
No, thank you.
It is this book right here, if I can get the cover to show itself. Cover, there we go. It is this book right here. This is what it looks like. It's called The Dream Book. Okay. And it's by Betty Berthud. It has a single red rose on it.
Okay.
And see, always people call me when I'm busy. This book has, it's the most, I want to say, the most, how do you say it, intuitive, the most, it came to her. Every part of it came to her very distinctly. If I go back to, let me go back to it for a minute here. Okay, I showed you the cover, and then if we go in here to, come on, the actual dream part, where it talks about how, to understand dreams and that type of thing. If I can go to the chapter where, see, I wish I would have had the regular book, but I just couldn't find it on my shelf right at the moment when I was getting ready. Come on. Let's see. Darn. I can't get to that page real quick, but for example, her definitions are very intuitively given. They're channeled. There's the word I was looking for. All of her messages are channeled. All of the information that she shared are channeled. And we can, get a good direction from that when we're working with our dreams, and we have a good book to help get us a good solid foundation for that. And I love her book. I actually threw all my other dream books away because I didn't like them. And then also going with your own personal interpretations. I can't stand it when these books on the internet. Okay. FGH. We'll go to Hill. No, that's not what I want. She's going through the interpretations right now. Dreams, what they're linked to. Let's try doing it this way. Okay, farm. Is nurturing, cultivating aspects of self, working on development of potential, sowing and reaping. Growing is symbolized by that which is on the farm and activity growing on. I don't know if you can read that or not. But her interpretation, sorry I'm wiggly.
Okay, I got it.
But her interpretations are very, I find it very accurate. GH. Let's look at Hill. Of course. If I do this, I'll probably go too far, but let's see. Hill, opportunity for spiritual growth.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, her just to kind of give you a little bit more information, like we were talking about in your dream, you shared with us. You're up on that hill. You're looking at your opportunities. You're looking out over what you've been doing. So that's where I gave you the interpretation of what I did, just simply because I've done so much with this and done so much on the interpretation part of it that's how it fits together. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. One of the next things is a good book. Make sure you have a really good book. I recommend her books. You can find them she has an older version out that I don't like as well. That's why I like to show you what that cover looks like, because of the fact that this is the version and the one that you want to get. I like it a lot better. You can get it on Amazon.
It's on Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get it for an ebook if you have if you have like a Kindle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to understand that dreams are looking into the subconscious of our soul. Dreams are never just surface things. They always go deeper. They always have a deeper, stronger into message for us. There's always more to it. And they actually help give us the tools and the voice and the way that we can start stepping into solving a lot of the everyday stuff that's going on. Okay?
Okay.
Psychological theories say that when we dream, we can learn. It's a tool. In dream time, we're able to work through problems, things that are occupying our mind. Idea of having repressed longings and primary focus on a lot of the desires and things that go on within our lives. There's all kinds of different aspects to dreams. It's not just we're just dreaming to dream. And we go through the different stages like we talked about. The stage for the groundwork for dreaming or reaching is REM. That's your deep sleep. The first stage is a time of being in a state of light sleep. Muscles begin to relax. We can occasionally twitch. That's when we toss and turn and that type of thing. That's when we can be woke up easy. That second stage is the little bit deeper sleep. And breathing changes, and the heart rate begins to slow. Our body temperature changes. It's when these three stages are working together, and then we move into the REM. That's when we move into that rhythmic part of truly being us. We're not being controlled by the trauma, by life, by situations, by things going on around us. So that's why it's really important that when we step into that place, we can then really begin to become who it is we are. Paint a picture during dream time. Allow yourself to make your agreement with yourself that you'll dream and you'll remember those dreams. Okay? So you want to make a commitment that will aid you in remembering that. And you can say it when you go to sleep. I am going to remember what I dreamed tonight. I am going to remember what I dreamed tonight. And do that before you go to sleep. And before too long, you'll be able to recall them really quick and easy because you're setting the intention and you're setting your body and your mind to go into that just automatically. That's why a lot of people will say, let me sleep on it before I make a decision. They don't really realize what they're saying is that they've got to get the message from their subconscious mind to their conscious mind. I'm going to flick the light on so I'm not quite so dark here. But a lot of times, people don't realize that's what they're doing when they say that. They've really got to get it to the point where they've allowed their subconscious mind to tell the conscious mind, okay, you can make that decision now. There's all kinds of dreaming. If you're a biblical type of person, it's full of dreams and visualization and that kind of teaching if people would just really read it for themselves and get a better insight in it. Let's see, we talked about a person has approximately 3 major dreams per night per dream session. You can have a lot of other dreams, but an average of the really in-depth, strong dreams is about 3 per night.
Wow.
Let's see. There can be obstacles that interfere with our dreaming as well, and a lot of times we just have to kind of move those obstacles out. A lot of it is our conscious mind doesn't want to give up its control. Our conscious mind is actually our worst enemy. October, November, and December are month when we have mellowed out our activities, and that's when we can fall into a nice routine. And those months are when we can really find that our dreams seem to really come in easily. So October, November, and December are months that are really kind of flowing dreams. Lunar cycles can affect your dreams as well. About 5 days out or 5 days after a full moon, your dreams can be stronger and clearer. And at a full moon, it's kind of police officers say they hate to be on duty on a full moon because everything goes crazy. Our dreams will do the exact same thing. It's just kind of how it happens. Some things that can interfere with dreams and getting your messages. You're trying to bring on too much. You're trying too hard. Taking drugs. Sleep medication can give us a false level of sleep, and it'll block the dreams from becoming clearer. Drinking before bed can sometimes mess with it. Eating too much before bed. Noise. If you have outside noise that kind of becomes a distraction, that noise can take you into a different type of dream, or it can keep you from that. Worrying and stresses are some other big factors that can really hinder when we're going into dream time. Watching TV and listening to the radio and stuff like that. I'm not a big TV person, but it's just because I don't care for TV. But I find if I have a TV on prior to going to sleep, my sleep is totally messed up. And if I have a person who's in a room where there's like a light flickering from a TV, that flickering light almost really messes with my head to the point that it keeps me from being able to whoo.
Yeah,
so those are just some things that I found that are little key things. Relax before you go to bed. Try not to eat right before bed, and turn your TV off and have a little bit of quiet time beforehand, and you'll find that you go into that sleep, or you go into your dream messages much easier. Have you ever had to do that type of thing, Renee?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Actually, I turn the TV off at night and lay there for a few minutes before I go to bed. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to try to decompress before I go to bed. It's just my own personal thing. I try to get like a hot bath, and then I let the water cool off because it helps then all my circulation to just. I guess that's from being in my therapy years of working with people. And then when I go to bed, I lay down and I'm like, okay, go to sleep, April. And I'm normally out within just a very few minutes. So sometimes just finding that way to decompress can really help too.
I have a little cat that likes to wake me up at 3 a.m. So get for his love.
Yeah, it's interesting because they say between 3 and 4 is actually kind of known as what we'll call the bewitching hours. And your nocturnal animals will do that. A person who habitually wakes up in the middle of the night, they watch the pattern of the time that they habitually wake up. It's around that same time.
Well, he's pretty regular. He's laying around
so I'm sure that that's what he's doing. I'm sure he's actually connecting with the time and energy of the day.
Okay.
And, it's something you could actually, if it bothers you, you could actually set with him intention that he doesn't do that. That, let me sleep through this time period. It's a personal thing, whatever you want. I'm just going to give you a list of a couple of different types of dreams that we can have that are pertinent to us. Mental clutter dreams. It's when we're still carrying too much crap in our heads. We're allowing the daytime to really muddle us up and muck up our sleeping process. Learning dreams is when our higher self or the subconscious mind is starting to show us the answer. Okay? So when you're in a situation where you're learning something, you're standing there and you're learning how to chop a piece of wood, that's the higher conscious or your higher self is starting to teach you things through dream time. Problem solving. Let me sleep on it before I make my decision. Let me really focus on it, get the answer. And then when we go into dream time, we can get the answer. Future, sometimes we see into future events, and our dream can open that up. Like I told you the other day, I had the dream that night, total chaotic, and then I woke up and boom, I was ready for dealing with it. Prophetic, these dreams are from your higher self. That's where we can start really seeing and knowing what's coming down the road. There's a big difference between prophetic dreams and future type of dreams. I posted on Dragon today a thing, I think you saw it, from 1965. I can't remember who the guy who narrated it was, but he was real famous back then.
I think of Paul Harvey. Does that sound right?
Yeah, Paul Harvey, yeah. And how what he was getting and sharing actually has come to pass. It's those kind of dreams that we can have that are prophetic, okay? Getting really good dream books and symbols is really important when you're working with it. Nightmares, I'll often say to people, nightmares are not really bad. Nightmares actually have a message from a much higher level that we need to grasp than what we're aware of. And a lot of times when a person says to me, oh, I have this horrible nightmare over and over and over, it's what are you going to do with that nightmare and what are you trying to learn from it? Don't be afraid of it, but get the message of it. When my kids were little, and my kids were real close. They were all within 12 or 15 months between them. It was like I had triplets. And I would go to the store, in my dream, I would go to the store, and my youngest one, who's David, in this dream I'd have one kid in this arm, another kid in this arm, and David in the cart, or however it would transpire. But I would be shopping, and all of a sudden somebody would grab David up out of the cart and start running out the door, and I'd wake up from it in a cold sweat, trying to figure out how am I going to get my kid back. Well, after realizing over a period of time and working with that dream, I had to do some healing work with it, and I went back into it, and I said, okay, when I have this dream again, I'm rewriting it. And the minute I rescheduled all that and reprogrammed it in my brain, and all of a sudden here I'm having this dream again. I'm in the middle of the dream, and all of a sudden, rather than going into that heart pounding, that fear, that nightmare aspect of it, I was like, no, you can't do this. And about the time that this person would have approached this big door to go out of this department store, this angel being filled this door and pointed at him and said to the individual, you put him down. And I woke up from the dream that quick. I have never, ever, since that, rewriting it or solving the nightmare and taking away the fear that all new moms have. Am I doing everything I can? Am I protecting my kids? Am I da-da-da-da-da-da? Boom, it never happened again. Okay? So we don't have to look at nightmares as something to be afraid of. And I always try to teach little kids that, especially when, especially my granddaughters, oh, I had such a scary dream. Okay, what can we change that up to be? What do we need to do?
Yeah.
Disaster dreams can be prophetic. Sometimes they can be a way for us to know we've got to go energetically put our energy into healing or, protecting, that type of thing. Sex dreams usually are bringing in a balance between our male and female aspect. Like you were talking to me a little bit ago about having a lot of family members in your dream. Had you just told me that, oh, I'm dreaming about myself and my ex. And a lot of times it's like, no, we're not really dreaming about the ex. He's just a male figure that we can associate to be our male self. Okay? Or if you're a male and you have a female that is in a dream, it can be that we're bringing in that balance between our own energy.
Okay.
Flying is always about looking at higher dimensions. Going high up on a mountain is looking at things from a higher dimension. Okay? Let's see. Falling is one of those times when we usually will come awake really quick, and it's telling us to get ready. We're going to be dealing with something. Recurring dreams usually have a message, and until we get the message, it's going to keep happening. So like with your family dream that you were telling me about, I would look at what is the repetitive message that's happening in it. Okay? Being chased is sometimes that we're running away from our own selves. Death means that we're letting go of something old and beginning something new. Blood and guts, where do you have your energy blocks? If we keep having dreams about blood and guts, gory, whatever, arms being cut off or being in battle and my arm is shot off, there's an energy block happening here. I need to fix it. Okay? We talked already a little bit about how to remember our dreams and how to work with our own journal. 99% of the time you're going to forget your dreams unless you really start programming yourself and jot down those key notes and those key terms and those key features. Red dog, white fence, going up a hill, and a dead father. Those are key terms. You're going to remember that dream. It's going to come back to you. It's going to give you the message easier, okay? So what you want to do now that I'm going to open it up and let you ask if you have any questions, number one. We're going to go over that, and then I'll talk to you about some exercises you can do. So if you have any questions or anything you want to know a little bit more about we didn't cover detailed enough.
What about when you're dreaming and you maybe or having a dream that you don't want to have, so you get up, go to the bathroom, you come back, and you go right back into that same dream, exactly where you left off?
That is a case of you need to figure out what the message is that they're trying to give you, okay? And or who's walking through your dreams that doesn't have a right to be there. That's usually when that will happen, is when you have somebody who, when I talk about somebody who walks through your dreams or walks through your mind that's not invited, a lot of times are those kind of dreams. And we have to go in and solve them. We have to go in and solve that mystery. We have to go in and solve what's happening. And a lot of times when that happens, I'll program myself to wake back up. If I go back in and I'm like, I get up, I go to the bathroom, and I get back in bed, and I'm like, now, I do not want to go back into that dream where I was at, unless you're going to show me what I need to get, and then we can move on, because I don't want to go back there. And you can program yourself to not do that, especially if it's an intense kind of dream. But a lot of times, like I said, those are cases of when other people are thinking about you or projecting their energy towards you. And you want to kind of stop that. And you kind of want to bring it to a, wait a minute, cut it off. And you can do that before you lay back down.
Okay.
Because they do happen more times than we like to admit. And a lot of times that will be a way you can overcome it and stop it, especially if it's a dream where you're fighting a battle of some sort that you don't want to fight. But you can also ask it to show you what you need to see and get out of it.
Okay.
Bring it to my conscious awareness so I can be done with this and deal with it. Okay? What other kind of questions?
I think I answered most of them.
Okay, cool. And of course, every time after we get off from a class, there's always a bunch of questions that come up.
There is for me, and I sit there and I really, oh, wait.
Yeah, and if that happens, you can always just email me or text me, either one, that type of thing. All right, so a couple exercises is to start a dream log or a dream journal. Do that for a number of nights and start watching the repetitive of what's happening. You'll be surprised how your dreams are very repetitive and how they keep happening over and over and you're not getting the message. The sooner you see the repetitiveness of it and you get the message, you can get through them quicker. And then you want to then kind of give it a meaning. If you've read through it and like you gave me that short little clip of that one dream and I gave you the quick little definition, you're above, you've climbed over, you're at the top, now you're looking down over yourself and you're saying, I've done it, look how great I'm coming through this. And you can reward yourself for that. Write down that quick little interpretation. Okay?
Okay.
And like in your dream now, the door was closed, correct? It was a beautiful door and it was closed.
Yes.
Okay, so that tells me right there, you're at a place now of receptivity. The door's not quite open. What do we need to do to get you through it? To get that door open and get you through it. Okay?
Okay.
And then, keep track of like 5 of them. And then after you see the repetitiveness, if you need some help on it, you can give me a call or whatever, and we can talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, and I will share this this paper with you. I'll just have to email it to you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop screen share. There we go. And we should be back on regular screen. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Any other thoughts? Did you get out of this what you were looking for information on dreams? Excellent, excellent. I'm going to start doing every Monday night a quick little class, because I think it's really fun to get people caught up on some of the different things. For example, next week we're going to do a class on candles. I love doing the candle class. I give you the colors and how to use them and how to work with them and that type of thing. So I'm kind of starting it as like a little Monday night, little interesting class that people might want to be in or a part of. So, kind of keep an eye. Might see some topics you really like. You might, some topics might not interest you at all, and that's totally fine. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'm learning this.